seekers and sojourners of truth, the wisdom in the wind, the ancestors in the wind that are here with me. Ooh, feel that. The 144, the chosen of the chosen of the chosen few. You know who you are. I greet you now in the love that lights the truth from my heart to yours. I am celestial earth in this divine energy essence of it all. The 12 times 12, the 144, in every bit of it all, in the omnipresence of it all. As usual, I am reporting to you live from nowhere other than 5D, the fifth dimension. Fifth dimension, let me say it again, the fifth dimension. We are transcending, we are ascending, soul ascension, timeline shifting. I am speaking to you from a place of deep meditation. That's where I'm so zen right now. I'm so zen and coming out of a deep meditation. I wanted to come on a little earlier, but I just got to move with the wind as this wind is moving. And I'm bringing to you just as it comes, right? I wanted to speak to you about this solar eclipse moon, this moon that is really highlighting the perspectives that are changing, the illusions that we're breaking. The theme pretty much is changing perspectives and breaking illusions, as we're also moving with Neptune shifting into Aries, Neptune helping us to break these illusions. And I definitely want to speak more about Neptune. Right now, I'm sharing with you just as the messages come, as the energy, as the wind blows, being weavers of the wind in time. Today was really one of those days of time pushing, of time traveling, and it is, I can feel the exhaustion in my body. Some of us, some of you may be feeling shifts in your body, pains moving through your body, moving through the resistance in our body, pushing through if there be any resistance in the body. The light acceleration, the fifth density light that is pouring through us. And if you are not tethered into the light grid, if you have not been doing light grid activation and fusing with the light grid, this could feel a bit turbulent. For some of us, it could be turbulence in a good way, kind of like when you're on your plane and you know you're getting to your destination. You know, sometimes there's a little bit of turbulence and you just go through it. You're like, yeah, I'm on my way. I'm going to my final destination, right? And I air quote that because there's really no such thing as a final destination in our infinite pursuit, in our infinite existence of multiple timelines, whether in this timeline, lifetime, or previous lifetimes. But this is a shift, I should say, and this is a major shift. So I want to talk to us about what is happening with this eclipse, what to know about the eclipse, things that we should know, what should be done, what could be done if you so choose to, as I always say, infuse with the light, because this is light frequency. This is light energy. This is light energy and information moving through us. We're all channeling right now. We're all conduits and channels of light. The question is, what are we channeling? How are we channeling? Why are we channeling? Right? And as we're connecting to the ethers, the celestial into the earth, right? So what I share with us, let's look at what the full moon and new moon is. This eclipse window. For those who don't know, eclipse is like the moon on 10, the moon on steroids. So it's really bringing us through. It's really highlighting what needs to highlight, what needs to come up. And what I want to explain is this transcend dance, right? The transcending dance through time, in time, as timekeepers in time, as time vessels that we are. Understanding, overstanding, and understanding this transit right here, right? For those who don't know, the eclipse has to do with an alignment in the assignment with our nodes. the north node and the south nodes, which are on our, let's say, the ecliptic cycle or window, right? Forgive me if I don't have the words right now, but you know what I'm talking about. And this ecliptic cycle, this is what the nodes are. These are the points on our ecliptic, right? So hence the eclipse and where we are in the position of the eclipse, which determines whether it's partial, total. You know, when you hear them say words like that, it's where we are, where our earthly perspective is on this ecliptic wheel, round and around and around, right? So know that every time you hear about an eclipse, please go and check where the nodes are, because it has every bit to do with our nodes. And right now we're in transition of nodes that were changing, because our nodes just changed in January from North Node and South Node in Aries and Libra to North Node and South Node in Pisces and Virgo, right? And I say really in between because, as you can see, for those who are paying attention, our lunar eclipse was in the South Node of, was in alignment with the South Node of Virgo. Our moon in Virgo, South Node in Virgo. Our solar eclipse that we're about to have approaching right now is a node in, we're in the North Node, is still in Pisces. However, the eclipse is somehow still finds us where the moon is in Aries, new moon in Aries, which says a lot in our transition, and it's giving us a chance to graduate and collect and ascend what we need, what we should have and need to collect and ascend from North Node in Aries. And that North Node in Aries was for us to get and gain our soul sovereignty. Aries, the first house, is about identity. So you will see that this is bringing up a lot for us in our identity, what we are closing out of and what we are entering into. Because the nodes, we were just leaving Pisces and we're entering into Aries. The moon, just the solar, the sun shift from Pisces into the house of Aries. We are closing out some things. We are entering into new beginnings as well. So in the graduation of North Node moving from Aries, identity. How do you see yourself? What is changing for yourself? We are looking at identity shifts. You may not even feel like you at this point. You may not understand why you do not have a connection to the things that you thought you had a connection to, and you may very well have been feeling it already. Nothing new to you, but it is being brought to the outer world. The sun represents that outer world. The moon represents that inner world. And notice they are now coming into alignment. So you are being brought into your true identity. You're being revealed. There's a revelation happening of the identity of who you are no longer, what you no longer identify with, right? And this is why 3-3, I'm looking at 3-3, creative completion. This is why so many of us are feeling this tug of war in our identity body, in our solar plexus, which is the identity body. This is why I'm also being called, as I'm now seeing the fullness of it. This is why I'm being called to do that solar plexus workshop, to guide us through how we are to now enter into our new identity bodies, how we can get through this timeline shift without feeling like we've lost ourselves or we've lost our minds, or some of us need to lose that old mind in order to gain the new and true self-identity as your higher self, your spiritual self, to know thyself as your spiritual self and not as the perspective from the body self, from the lower self. It is time to raise your vibrations into the higher frequencies of that higher self. This is why the detox to detach is very important for those of you who have joined the detox. There's still time. There's still time. We're still in our transitional week. Our next meeting will be on Monday, where we go strictly into that. So there is a lot for us to release. What I can say is there is so much to release and step into the new. We're not just going to magically step into these new things without releasing and shedding. There is a shedding that is happening, and some of us are feeling it energetically in our bodies. If you feel tired, get rest, drink a lot of water, eat the light foods as much as you can right now. During this week, if you can, I suggest moving away from all dense foods, right? Flesh being one of them. Any dense foods, anything that takes a lot for your body to break down, because we want to give that body a rest. This is what the detox is helping us to see. We want to give that a rest, right? Ashe. Let me see what, I'm still in my meditative state, so I got to really go in, and I don't have the glasses on. Peace, love, and light. Is that Tamat? Peace, peace, love, and light. The me tree, is that what that says? The me tree. I like that. Wrap your hair and wrap it. I think it says in copper. Okay, wrap it in copper. Yes, balance. Balance is needed. These gateways, every leaf is a portal. Ooh, I like that. Every leaf is a portal. Thank you for sharing that as well. And I'm definitely gonna meds on that some more. Wrap everything in copper if you can. Copper is that grounding, metal as well, helping to keep us grounded and protecting our energy with these vibrations and these frequencies right now. Appreciating that as well. As you speak, I listen. My entire right side of my body, yep, acts to release itself. Yes, and as we say that, as you say that and share that, release, if you're saying your right side, because the right side is our masculine, the left side is our feminine, right being the giver, the doer, the creative activity, the left side being the feminine, being the receptive. So release what we're used to giving, right? A lot of us are giving. Release your weight release your weight if you're holding any weight on your left side, right? Because we want our receptive side to be free. Move things from your left side, if you can, over to your right side. If you're used to carrying weight, bags, purses on your, whatever it is on your left, shift it to the right. Allow your left side to be free. Unblock and remove anything that blocks your receptivity, right? So allow yourself to marinate in these energies. You may feel things and pinches in the body. As I was laying here in meditation, I myself was experiencing some in my left foot and really having to release at the bottom of my foot and just feeling that tightening, that tingling. And the feet usually represent understanding as well. So releasing what I may have absorbed today, because today was high active energy for me. I went to an event, an expo, and it was way more than I thought. I went to help with a promotional aspect for someone else, but it ended up being a wealth of information for myself, sharing information. That was the time traveling. I'm literally time traveling as I'm speaking to different people. I made actually a connection with the eastern side of Africa, ancient Kemet, into the Western world, what we know as the Western world, with Maya, the Kemetic and the Mayan connection. And the word that was used to me was the cacao belt. Right? I'll speak about that another day, but that in itself was the connection, that belt across the tropical region, from Africa to the Mayan connection. And it was highlighting to me in the ancients of days. And I don't know how to explain this, but there is an ancient connection through that cacao belt that connects our ancient Kemetic ones, those of us who have the ancient blood in us, and a lot of us do, a lot of the chosen of the chosen of the chosen few. I guarantee that you have ancient bloodline in you that is connected to either Kemet or Mayans or both. Ashe. So I ask us to open our capacity during this eclipse to really go deep into the soul self and extract what we need to extract, right? And so that brings me back to, let me come back to explaining this solar eclipse and lunar eclipse transcendence as we're dancing through the transcendence of what is happening. So understanding what that eclipse is, the ecliptic window that we're in. There's an 18-month ecliptic window, but right now we're in the eclipse season, which is between the solar eclipse, the lunar eclipse, and the solar eclipse. And the lunar eclipse has already happened. And what happens in the lunar eclipse? The lunar eclipse is always has to deal with the full moon and the opposition. The full moon is the opposition of the sun and the moon. They are in opposition. And there is a reflection that is happening. It is reflecting what has happened 6 months ago, and also projecting what is to come in 6 months, right ahead. This full moon, as I said, was connected to our south node, and it was bringing up a lot. So what I want to share with us to look at, if you can, now and as we enter into this solar eclipse, there's a coming apart and there's a coming together. This is what I usually call the dance, the cosmic dance between the sun and the moon, and understanding that the sun and the moon is also in our consciousness. The sun represents our conscious phase of mind, and the moon represents the subconscious, which is the feminine energy, the subconscious phase of mind, right? So it brings up everything to the surface, right? When there's an opposition, they are apart. And there's the sun representing the outer world, and there's the moon representing the inner world, and there is a balance to be had. And so the moon, the full moon, powerfully, this one, powerful lunar eclipse, really bringing up all of these things that no longer serve us, the things that we need to change, the illusions that need to be broken, the perspectives that need to be changed. It was bringing up so much. So I invite us to look at that dance. There's a coming apart and there's a coming together. That's what I want us to see, like in this tango, in this cosmic tango. So apart, lunar eclipse, solar eclipse, coming together. Because why? That is the new moon, when the sun and the moon is in alignment. So it brings your inner world into alignment with your outer world. What was happening in the inner world and was brought to the surface through the full moon is now being brought to the inner world, right? Brought to the outer world, right? As they meet, as they kiss and make up, it's like when they're in opposition, it's like, what's going on here? The sun is beaming, where it is, and shining its light, its luminary, onto the moon, and the moon is reflecting it back at us, reflecting our inner world back at us, but we don't quite see it yet because it's in the inner world, right? It hasn't been brought to the outer world, but that light is highlighting it for us, right? So that lunar eclipse, ooh, wisdom in the wind, that lunar eclipse is bringing it up for us. So whatever things you've been feeling, whatever has come up, I'm asking us to really take a deep look, an introspective look at what has come up with the full moon. And we're now bringing it with the solar eclipse. We're now doing kiss and makeup. We are bringing it into the outer world, that everything that was happening in the inner world, it's now being brought to the outer world where we can see it now. We are in alignment with it, if you allow yourself to be. And this is where it's time to go, right? So we have to look at the phases of the moon as well. There's the waning phase, there's a waxing phase. After a full moon, it is the waning phase. The waning phase is feminine energy. The waxing phase is masculine energy. So the waning phase is very receptive. It's whatever has come up for you from the full moon. It is now time to lead. The waning phase is where you allow the feminine to lead. You allow the feminine to highlight the instructions, everything that has come up. Intuition. You're highly guided by intuition if you allow it, if you are truly humbling yourself, right? In the waning phase, we are to humbleize our ego. We are to be in true humility and allow the moon, right? Because if you go outside after the full moon in the morning, you will see throughout the day even that the moon is leading the day. The moon is ahead of the sun, and it's going ahead of the sun, and then it sets, and then the sun is following behind. That is the feminine energy that is leading. That is receptivity. So we must allow the receptivity and the instructions and the intuition. This is what's happening in the waning phase. Whatever has come up, don't just cast it aside and into the sea, the river of denial, you know. Don't just put it in avoidance and denies. And don't just think because you did a ritual and you burned it up, it's gone. It's to be looked at. It's to be worked on. It's to find a practical application, find a way to bring this transcendence as this thing comes up. Get ready to do something on the new moon. You do nothing on the waning phase. The waning phase is receptive activity, right? Be watchful, be mindful. You're assessing and reassessing and looking at what has come up for you, right? And the things that have come up have been from the South Node. Mind you, this was South Node in Virgo. So the things to be, the South Node are things that come up from the past and what we are to learn from so that we can elevate into the North Node, right? And our North Node currently in Pisces is asking, is the spiritual house. It is time for spiritual magnification, like it's being magnified, right? But before we come into the spiritual house, there is a certain responsibility of your identity and who you are and what you are bringing into the spiritual house. Ashe? So this is why it's important that now what's to be done, because what was being brought up is the meticulous things of Virgo, the minute details that we tend to look at. Service, right? Virgo is all about service. How have we been misappropriating service? And how have we been allowing the minute details to block us from the bigger picture? Because there is a big picture that is being highlighted right now. The big picture is upon us. The spiritual house, the newt, is upon us. So how can we not allow this to block us? So a lot of things that came up was to show you, what are you getting caught up in minute details about? What are you being too meticulous about in misappropriated ways that we don't need? That is blocking you from seeing the bigger picture. Reevaluating your service. What is it that you call service? Not because you're doing charity or you're on the church board or whatever it is. In the spiritual house, are you spiritually bypassing in your service and allowing this misappropriated service to block you from your true service? Right? Some of us may not be able to get into what is for us because we are under a false pretense, an illusion of what service is. This needs to be brought down. So certain things that may be happening with people, places, and things are happening to help bring you to a true perspective. It's to unveil, it's the unveiling, to bring a revelation of truth so that you can know that this is not the service that you are to be on. This is not the path for you. So rather than wrestle with it, release it so that you can step into that new lease on life, right? A true release in life, right? So this is what's happened in the South Node aspect to bring us forward into the North Node of that spiritual house, right, of Pisces. But this solar eclipse, although the North Node is in Pisces, this solar eclipse is saying, I need you to take a look at that Aries aspect, right, where the node that we just came out of, it's giving a chance to really reevaluate that. And if we truly do with what we were supposed to do, South Node in Libra is having that balance in the justice of how we see we, with having I've said it before, having compassion for the collective so that you can truly step into your soul sovereignty. And so this south node is also allowing you, because it's showing you where you were in service as well. That has to do with the collective. It's echoing that and bringing you to look at where you should be in your north node of soul sovereignty. And when you have a true, it's given this opportunity for us to, in our identity, have true soul sovereignty, so that when we step into North Node in Pisces, to help us enter into the North Node in Pisces of our spiritual house, spiritual responsibility, with soul sovereignty. You are so brave. You are a brave lion. You are so brave that now you can truly step into that spiritual house in a great light, in a confident light. We need that confidence of the soul sovereignty, of our authentic authority. And this is what this transit in between nodal shifts, if you will, what it's going to help us with. We need that soul sovereignty to have true spiritual responsibility. And as Neptune shifts into Aries, it's bringing that spiritual house into spiritual leadership. You are divine spiritual leaders. This is not the time for spiritual bypassing. And this is a time for us to call it out if we see it, or to cut ties with it. If you are involved in some sort of service or collective work spiritually that is, and you witness the spiritual bypassing, we are to either call it out or disassociate with it. It no longer serves you, and it is not a vibrational match. We are not in alignment with these falsities, right? These are the illusions. And the illusions are intrusions in our light work as a light warrior into the fifth dimension. This is not 5D if you are carrying these illusions. It is the shadows of 3D that we are to be breaking, changing perspectives, expanding the third dimension into the fifth dimension of time. Creation within time that is expressing itself over and over again. The fifth dimension is that constant expression in time. Ashe? So, is that soul? Let me see what soul is saying. Greetings, greetings, divine. Welcome. I am so in Zen. So, I'm just going with what Spirit is highlighting, and it is important that we see what to do. I wanted to share with us what to do with this solar eclipse that is coming from the lunar eclipse as well. This is our ecliptic window right here that we're having, right? With the lunar to solar eclipse. So I'm sharing with us what it is we want to look at. Should we have the opportunity to change, just re-look. Respect yourself. To know thyself is to respect thyself, and respect is to re-look. So re-looking at what has come up for us, I'm inviting all of us to take a deep look and allow this opportunity that is helping us in transit to get from one side to the other. Right? We're dancing, we're shifting in timelines. So allow yourself to detach. I can't say that enough. Detach, detach, detach. We are to detach from so many things on so many levels. If I can say any message at all, I would say detach from as much as you can on multiple levels. Concepts, old patterns, old behaviors, right? Karmic trauma, childhood trauma, ancestral trauma, in order to activate the DNA. DNA activation is going to involve those 3 traumas that I just mentioned. So allow yourself to identify it. We can't change things if we don't identify them. So this is a time to be a part of that. This is why I've been doing workshop back to back from the Divine Chakra Moon workshop, which was with the full moon lunar eclipse that allowed us to transmute fears that are coming up. So I invite you to do that. If you haven't done that, please review what came up for you around the lunar eclipse Look at that opposition that was only calling you to come into balance and to right balance with yourself and with others. Because the 5D is unity frequency. The Aquarian age is humanity, humanitarianism in its rightful way. And we can't be true humanitarianists if we are not truly being divinely human with ourselves and with others, having complete compassion, but also knowing your identity, not losing your identity or overly compromising your identity to be in accordance with the collective. It is being true to you that allows you to be true to others, being one with one another. And this is the true oneness. This is stepping back into right order with ourselves, with others, with the earth. Ground if you can in any way possible. Do grounding work. Listen to grounding music. Be around grounding people. Right? This is a time to elevate. This is evolution and re-evolution. This is a very pivotal time, especially with Neptune shifting. We had the doorway. We had the Venus and Neptune conjunction that just opened the doorway for love, beauty, giving us a retrograde retrospect of the Venus energy of love, so we can see the expansion, Neptune, the spiritual house expansion of love, as it guides us through this solar eclipse, which is also connecting us to Neptune that is shifting. And on the solar eclipse, we have Mercury that is Mercury is in alignment, in conjunction with Neptune now. So here comes communication. Here comes travel. This is why I was feeling like I'm time traveling today. We are traveling. This is not just about jumping on a plane to a vacation. Traveling is what we're doing here and in here through correspondence, through coherency. We are time traveling, right? So be prepared to feel the travel in time. As we're shifting timelines, you are going to need that rest. We're going to need to listen to our body, eat light food so that you can process this. If any of this feels heavy as you're going through this, get rest, drink water, and eat light foods. Get rest, drink water, and eat light foods. Get rest, drink water, and eat light foods. I've said it 3 times. Another way to help get through these energies is to fast in any way possible, from foods, from behaviors, from patterns. Remove yourself from lower vibrations, low vibrational person, places, or things at this time, during this week. If you're somewhere and you feel the energy shift, then you shift. If you can't shift it right where you are, physically remove yourself and shift. This is a time to really be responsible with your energy and where you have it and with whom you have it around. And the third thing is raise your vibrations in any way possible, whatever that is for you. Listening to music, taking a spiritual bath, taking a walk, grounding, whatever raises your frequency to the 10th degree, do it. Engaging with your crystals. The crystals are earth bodies, earth particles talking to your body, helping to speak to your energy centers. There is so much more that I can give, and I'm seeing 8-8 right now. Infinite, infinite. The infinite existence. We are being invited into the infinite existence of our timeline. And we are being invited to come out of the infinite lock, right? Even on the timeline. So get invested in a calendar if you haven't already done so. For those of you who have the calendars, the new ones are coming out. Be prepared for when it comes out, and we will have that calendar workshop to help us shift the timelines, move into true timelines in how we are existing in time. Ashe, ashe. Let me see. How do you time travel? We are time traveling in many ways, right? One of the ways is like what I've explained to you, just shifting in your soul work. Moving through your soul is moving through you. You are the time vessel. So that is time travel. A lot of us hear time travel and we think back to the future, right? I need to do a video on that alone. So I'm not going to go into too deep, but just to explain to you here, since you've asked, time traveling can be done in many ways, and how we pass one another is passing in time. How we transition through our soul's ascension is shifting through time. So that in itself is time travel. The way we're sharing our light is also time traveling. It is light passaging through time, right? And you know, we're moving at light speed. So there's different ways of time traveling. Um, Pushing those dimensional timelines in your soul is time traveling. Removing the karmic soot in your soul from a past life is traveling through time. And by doing so, you hit the speed bump sometimes, and it's like shoo, and you're time traveling, right? So there's many ways to time travel. That was just one of them. Faithfully, you get what I'm saying. Gratitude to you as well. So I've shared that information with you. I'm in the wind. Allow yourself to get out and connect to the cosmos and connect to the ground. It's all about a connection from the celestials and into the earth. There's no one without the other, and one is not better than the other. So don't be too up into your higher chakras where you ignore your lower chakras. We need both, right? And for some of you, do not be too grounded in the lower chakras where you ignore the higher chakras, right? Be open through all your energy centers as they are the doorways to your soul. Ashe? So that's what I have for us on this solar, this solar perspective, this solar eclipse perspective, right? So be a part of this transcending dance. Detach wherever you can. Change the perspectives in whatever way you can. A lot of the things that we are time warping through is to change our perspectives. And when you do, you shift time. You break another illusion, you shift time. You time travel, right? So if any of this resonates with you and you are looking for help to detach and being a part of the Detox to Detach, contact me at divineenergystudio@gmail.com. That's DI, not DE. If you are looking for one-on-one, because I spoke to someone earlier and they just wanted a one-on-one, do not be afraid to reach out for a one-on-one session. I will be making myself available to serious energy only, means I'm guided by spirit. So if you are serious about that one-on-one, because it does take time and energy, and I'm doing one-on-ones with myself, with the one within myself. So if this is something that you need and you need help with that, feel free to email me as well. But definitely being a part of the group helps give you some of those answers. So Detox to Detach and the upcoming solar plexus workshop as well. Look out for that. Right? With that said, I love you all. Each one, reach one, teach one. If you don't know where to start in your big, beautiful heart. Shine your light from the inside out and be the candle that lights the next one and the next one and the next one. Get into this energy. Be one with the wind. Before I go as well, thank you, Spirit. Reminders, things you can do. Write down what no longer has served you. Persons that you may need to let go with from this Venus conjunction. You may want to write it down, dissolve it in water. And then you may want to also, for the new moon, write down, as it is a new moon in Aries, write down what you would like to release as well, whatever comes up for you, and burn that in the fire. So one, you may want to dissolve in water, especially if it's an old relationship, whether it's work related, personal related, dissolve that in water. And then other things you want to release and put in the power of this Aries energy, write it and put that in the fire, the element of fire. So we're using the element of water and we're using the element of fire. You may want to do the one that has to do with communication, Mercury, with the fire, and the one that has to do with relationships, love, finances, you may want to put that in water, right? So with that said, love you all. Peace, love, and light.